Ready? There we go. Hey, how's it going, Ontario, Canada? How the hell are you guys doing today? How's all the good people? Hope everything's going good. We're back on. We're going to do another video here today with Richard. We got a guest on here from California, John Holler. He's got some experiences we're going to get him to talk about. I just met the man myself. He seems like a fantastic guy to me. We've talked a couple times, and he's really decent. Of course, we got Richard. You can see him on the screen there. He's going to be doing some talking as well. I'm just going to we're on a delay with California and John. So when I set John loose here to tell you his experiences or to tell you his story, uh, if there is any delay, please forgive us. That's just the way it is, but we're going to work around it. John's had some experiences from what I've heard from Richard and whatnot. And we wanted to have him come on and tell his story anyway. So without any further ado, for me, Richard, and John, I'm going to turn it over to John and let him tell his story. Here you go, John. Give her, buddy.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Richard, how's it going? Just checking in, see how everybody's doing, and just let out a few experiences that have happened that, and all truthful experiences that have happened. And there's no need to exaggerate or blow things up, make it look bigger or better than they are. I'm not about that. I definitely like putting out just truth, so if anybody ever has any other questions or problems, they have somebody they can at least relate to count on, and to not feel alone and so beat down by society and family members and friends. It's really a hard life to stroll around when you have rules and laws and regulations, which is fine. It keeps order and keeps people from hurting other people and things like that. But there's a lot of things that are unknown that are happening right before our eyes, and it's up to the individual to question that and go, hey, there's something different, something not right. I haven't been told about this, and you question that. And I think that's whatever happened throughout my life, little things here and there I've questioned, and that I got to a point where I questioned hard with intent. I meant it. What is this all for? What's going on? I'm tired of screwing around. Everything hurts. And there's a lot of good things out there besides the bad things. And I want to know more good things. And I'm tired of seeing what we deal with all the time of negativity everywhere we go, on the radio, TV, and people. And it's so you kind of pull out of areas where you feel that you don't fit in, that you don't feel is right. You don't want to participate in the silly, high school games that adults do nowadays. And it goes on from centuries, from family members to family members, and it's kind of like that quote, the black sheep kind of steers the family in a different direction. Yeah, everybody doesn't like that black sheep, or because they're making the family look silly because some of the things they don't follow with the rest of the family. But it's a new direction, and I think people need to not judge and really look at it and go, there's possibly something to it. And if you know that individual as a family member or someone you love, a friend, you can trust them, or you cannot trust what they say and how they feel and the emotions that they expel from them, and so it's a hard stroll, and it's really good to have some people out there that you can connect with and run your story by little until you feel that you have a good amount of their trust, and someday maybe you'll let out your whole story of what happened that changed you for who you are, and become your one identity, your individuality, I think. And that's what it is. We are a one, but we also are individual. And there's a lot to both of those right there.
Absolutely. It sure is.
But I have, there's a few things that have happened throughout the several years, and there's even an incident what happened back when I was a child. And I remember things being in the as a real young child, being in the stroller or the crib, and I can point out certain things. Everything, you can't remember everything, but some people can't remember much at all.
Right.
But I do know, there's a lot more out there. And I'm glad you guys have a show where I'm able to come on, and anybody else that has any questions to go over with you guys, and um, credibility, it's just I'm very thankful for you guys and Richard Merhouse to be here for me.
Well, we're glad to have you, and we can't wait to hear about your experience. I
You
mean,
got my
like,
name right.
yeah, absolutely, bud. Yeah, if there's any experiences you want to tell us about, we're all here to find the answers.
It probably
There's no
took time.
judgment.
Well, shoot. I think I remember it was in probably 94 is probably when I really saw my first probably UFO or some unidentified flying vehicle in the sky when I went to go hiking for a camping trip, me and my buddies, and there were about five of us there, and we were walking, and it caught our eye. It was just doing some weird obstacles in the air. It was lit up like a plane, but not blinking and not a helicopter, and it was way up there. It's just big and bright and doing some weird obstacles and right angle turns that are not any conventional vehicle in the sky would be doing at all. So it was
Right.
definitely questionable what is going on up there. There's more to what is happening up there, and we're dealing and fighting about things down here. And that was in 94. But that you look back in the past and see that things kind of lead up to where you are now, and you question that. So
Well, it's
the
definitely
UFOs, it's an odd thing. They come and go as they please, is what I find out, and there is definitely consciousness connection where you can concentrate. And that's my problem, is I have a hard time focusing and concentrating. I think that's a problem with a lot of people, but to concentrate and focus and put your intent onto having whatever's out there in a positive experience, because the negative ones will show up too and make your life hell. Some of us know that.
I wouldn't doubt there's not negative entities
But they come and
all
go, and
around us.
we know, and I've it has to be
Just feeding off of
good
our
and positive, negativity
discontent.
everywhere. Yeah. That's it with schooling. A lot of we're not taught a lot of these new tricks and things that they're not new, but they've been around for a long time, and how to make contact and speak to. Gosh, there's so many things out there, so many entities, so many different diversions. It's really hard, and if you're kind of thrown into it or you start questioning it, yeah, you're starting from the beginning in a way, and you got a long road to go. Not to throw anybody off, but it's really inviting in a way. It's really intriguing to learn more. That's the true stuff, the real things. When you start learning something that makes no sense and it's nonsense, you don't want to keep going learning it, and you rather spend the time to deal with true stuff where you can be able to help figure things out and make things better.
Absolutely.
But I have, I broke down a list of a few things that are uh, questionable, and they're my personal experiences, but also family members have been around to witness some of the different subjects of what we probably call them shadow people, to poltergeist activity, to the UFO. No Sasquatch, Bigfoot encounters, but no little people. I've had some stories of little people of like elf type people out here in the far out wilderness, and even in some of the ancient old towns that we have here in the sewer systems that construction family members of mine have been working in, and some odd stories that popped out of there. It's really intriguing. I haven't got to go and spend time to investigate and look into it. I know it's going to take a while, but
We got to hear him,
some of these
John.
people, they don't want to go on air talk about any of the little people. Oh man, I don't know much about the little people, but the shadow people, I know on the deck at my old house there in Pine Grove, um, my daughter's mom and I were on the deck, and we were probably out there 20 minutes before this shadow being. I call it shadow being by looking into other people's experiences, and this is what they are putting a name on this entity, and it's a dark, shadowy figure. And when we were out on the deck, I got home from work, and we're just killing time before we go to bed, and out of nowhere, either this entity had been sitting there the whole time, or it just popped up out of nowhere. But my daughter's mom and I were relaxing on the couch we have on the deck, and all of a sudden, we felt, seen, and heard all at the same time this shadow being running right past us. And we seen the shadow, dark shadowy figure. We felt the deck bounce as we have kids, they bounce around. This is at bedtime. The kids were asleep. We double checked, and this entity thing, Black Shadow, ran past us. The deck bounced. We seen it. We heard it, and that's all we had. And it was quick. It was very fast. It ran quick, almost to the point where you question yourself. And that's what we did. We looked at each other. It was like, did you see, hear, and feel all that just now happened? And that was at that time, a lot of things were happening, and that's the time when I question. I want to know answers. And I don't know if I invited anything in, uh, or I did invite some things that were just observing. Go ahead, Rich.
Did the shadow person have like was it like a ghost, or was it solid? Did it have form like a human figure?
It appeared to have, because we weren't looking up. We just, it all happened at the split, right then. And so it was really hard to look up and analyze it as it came through. As all I could tell, it was just a dark, shadowy figure. And I do understand that some of the ETs can represent themselves as shadow figures. So for it to me to feel it, to hear it, and to see it, and have my daughter's mom sitting next to me witness exactly what I did, that's two people that just heard, seen, and three different senses picked up at the same time something that's abnormal, and you question that. And sometimes I look and I question, I'm like, did these things really happen? But there's enough of them, and there's enough of my family where I've called them out to experience something that's happening at this very moment. And we don't have answers for them, but I have them seeing what I'm seeing and dealing with what I'm dealing. So it's really nice that my family has been able. There's a lot of times where they didn't believe me, but little by little throughout time, they've got to see different things, and they know I'm not crazy anymore. There was a question there, thinking, what is going on with this guy? But showing them and pointing out certain things that was weird and odd, you finally get it finally starts working a little bit at a time. So there's quite a few number of different things in my life that have happened, and um, I should say the shadow person was one of the big ones. I do have I do have a couple of family witnesses, and yeah, they're family. But even if I was wrong or lying, they would say, he's full of crap. But they know only if I talk about things, I mean it. I'm not playing around, and I let you know if I'm screwing around. But the one time after when I was coming home from work, I seen that UFO screwing around in the sky. I started watching and paying attention more, and that's when I seen craft flying over. And so I was already kind of prepared, and I had like a 1,000,000 watt lamp watt spotlight. And I brought that spotlight up, and I quickly ran to my truck and I flashed at it with the spotlight, you know, and it's pretty strong and bright. And I would be damned if that craft that was flying over didn't what do you call, they call it they flash back, like, you know,
Power
you're in a
up?
dark room and you turn the light on and off real fast, and it's just a big, yeah, power up, definitely. And it did a power up, so I flashed at it again, and it powered up again, and I thought, okay, well, this is weird, and we're having a little communication with something. And
That's pretty
so it
cool.
got to the point where it stopped, it wasn't flying anymore. And I would turn the light on right to where it was. It would disappear, pop up instantly in another location, and looking up from my direction up to the sky, it's had to have been miles from each other area. It would pop up and flash. It would power up and turn off, but I would flash to where it went. And I called it a peekaboo because it seemed like they were playing a game.
Mhm.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
so as it would pop up and flash, I would flash where it was, and he would find a new location, and I'd flash where he flashed, and it was doing that back and forth. And this was miles of differences up in the sky, and I couldn't
Wow.
tell. Looked like it was over California, way, 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 way up there. But I got to the point where I ended up having to get my mother, who was staying with us at the time, and it takes a few minutes for her to get her gathered up and come outside. So she misses everything. So I told her, drop what you're doing. This is a big one. You got to see it now. Just come now.
I've done that. I've
So she
done that with
did.
my mom.
And she came out there and she's coming up with every excuse, you know. Yeah, they do. Well, and so she got to see it, and I'm showing her what I was doing, and it was still doing that. It was still popping up different locations, and she goes, "What is that?" She goes, "No, you know, coming up the excuses." And I told her, she got so amazed that she went to go grab my sister because we needed more people to see this. And she comes out a few minutes later, which, you know, you got to come out right now, otherwise you're going to miss it. But
Right.
she came out with my daughter and my niece, and they're little children. And she was seeing it as she's walking a little bit, but not knowing what's going on. And she missed a step on the stairs, and she fell down and dropped both kids. And they started crying, and so that kind of ended that. It
Oh,
was a
sweet.
little. She fell down with the kids. You know, the
Oh
kids
yeah.
fell down and down the stairs. So it was pretty a little traumatic for a minute. So we lost contact and now. But during that time, I did feel the weird energy. I couldn't breathe very good. I couldn't talk very good at all. It could have been my emotions and the energy, but I really couldn't say much, and I really couldn't express any emotion, not really at all. Besides to just interact with the guys, and I wanted everybody else to see it. And you know, I didn't get that one on tape. I did get other craft that fly over here and there, but most of the good stuff I never got on tape,
Same here.
unfortunately. And you know, we've had a mothership. We called it my mom called it my mom called it the mothership because this thing was coming towards us from the Bay Area, and these other little probe ships were flying around. It seemed like because the kids were pointing out these other ones, and my mom was pointing at the big one. Well, all of a sudden, the little ones went to the big one, and the big mothership flew towards Nevada, and ended up. It was either it disappeared, it just went in somewhere else. It was really hard to say. Um, we don't know where it went. It flew over us, and the little probes went into it, and it was gone.
Wow, that's pretty spectacular.
You know, that was another night, but that was you know, I was really, what's that, Dan?
I said that's spectacular.
Yeah. I had the exact same thing, John. This one happened to me in California. I'm
It's
just going
really good when
to
you have
Vancouver.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, just real quick, just to show you can
Sure.
have an example, a scenario. I was in Vancouver. I
Oh
got
yeah,
up.
definitely.
Okay, I went to. I was in Vancouver downtown, British Columbia, Vancouver. And I went downtown to where I worked to get a coffee. And then I had to go to the bank, so I started walking to the bank. I look up in the sky, and I see a cigar, a silver cigar, floating above the buildings. It was really long. So as I'm walking down the street looking, I didn't go to the bank. I just kept looking at the cigar thing, and there were buildings passing in front of it. So I'd run to the next block to get sight. As I did that, it kept shrinking. It got smaller and smaller. I get down to the waterfront where the big ship park and the sea bus station is, and I'm standing there. And by the time I get there, the craft is very, like, the cigar shape is real small, fat, and then it turns into a sphere, a silver sphere. And I noticed, and it was out over the water on the inside of the bay of where the bridge is, Lions Gate Bridge. I'm sitting there, I'm watching it with other people. To over my shoulder and straight up above me is like 11 other spheres, silver spheres, and they're all just sitting there in the sky.
Wow.
This thing then, it split the sphere over the water. It was big. You can see it. It was like the size of a I don't even know. I could see it clearly. It was the size of a van, a moving van, like a small moving van. Anyway, it split right in the middle like that and made two spheres. The spheres then started circling each other. Okay, by now there's 200 people with their jaws dropping their copies, gathering up their kids and their dogs. Everybody's looking at these things, and everybody's going, "What's going on? What's going on?" And I go, "Look at a UFO over the water, right?" And so the guy's sitting there looking at it, and he goes, "Oh, I don't know about that." And I go, "Well, there's 10 more over your head, but you ain't seen them yet, have you?" And he looked over, and then he shut up. I ain't done, man. All of a sudden, we look coming off the water. There's a otter plane, and the otter plane's coming off the water. It takes off, and it's flying right in front of us. The UFO is right in front of me. The plane is headed right for it. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm thinking this damn plane's going to hit the thing because the pilot hasn't seen it yet. Obviously, he hasn't because he's not changing course or anything. All of a sudden, he's almost hits it. All of a sudden, you hear the plane engine. He just guns the plane engine, and he veers up like that, and the plane goes right over it like that. Just misses it.
Wow.
I'm standing there going, "Oh my God," right? And then as the plane leaves, everybody's sitting there with their jaw. They were all freaking out because they thought it was going to hit. Then the double sphere, it was spinning around. The spheres were spinning around like that. It goes over our head. It goes up in the sky, goes over our heads, and there's a big tower needle thing in the downtown Vancouver. It flies over that. All the 11 other spheres gathered up around it, and it all flew south, real slow down towards Washington and that.
Wow.
And nothing in the news. No fighter planes, no helicopters, no nothing.
Wow, that's incredible too.
Yeah. So just there's another one for John. Pretty much. And that was broad daylight, noon, lunchtime,
Yeah.
Sunday. So I don't know. There you go.
Sorry guys, that's
The
my
daylight ones are a tough one.
Yeah, I love them though.
wow, that's pretty good, Rich.
So
That's a good
John,
story. I know I have
no, go ahead, man.
what's
Yeah.
that?
Go ahead, John.
Oh, I was to say I know that I've had a couple of family members that have and not seen any of the things that I've witnessed and other family have talked about, and it was a good probably a year and a half ago, and a brother-in-law of mine happened to be around, and he's finally catching on to things and stuff and questioning, and which is good.
Mhm.
We need more people to do that. And so I happened to, he was in the house. I happened to come out and I told him, hey, if you want to see one, there's probably one coming over the house right about now. You want to come out and check it out? He's like, okay, he came out, and so I pointed out with my finger and I'm saying, there it is right there. I don't have a, I know there's apps where you have a J-Helm and flight tracker and things for airplanes and satellites to go. And I told him, I said, I can't tell if that's a satellite or not, but I'm not sure. And the way it was coming in, it broke up to two. The one turned into two lights, and then it turned into a third one. And so it was producing probes or drones or whatever they're doing. Like the mothership comes and parks, and the little individuals get out and fly around, do their testing, their little experimentations that they got to do, and bring it back to the mothership, and off they go. I don't know if it's a regular thing they do, certain times, certain celestial. It's really hard to say when they're going to come and go. Besides you going out there and doing it yourself,
Yep.
because even doing it yourself, you never know if you're going to get. Like I said before, you got to put the intent in advance, and then they'll probably make time to show up for you for a minute or two.
Yep. It was fascinating. I love that
Daytime
stuff.
ones are really tough, though. I actually think my daughter at the park. We were at the park, and I seen one of the we got that metallic shape shifting one that you catch them on your video a lot, where it almost looks like a one of those metal balloons, but they keep shape shifting. The ones that you get, or
Yep.
something kind of like that, but it was really stationary in the sky for quite a bit. And we're at the park. I told my daughter, it thing's been up to 15 minutes, the same spot. It's a little shiny and it's a little light up there and it ain't going nowhere. And finally it ended up leaving. But she's a little 5-6-year-old little child, and I hope I'm not gonna mess things up for her down the road, but she pointed out a lot of the craft at nighttime. When she would come out, she enjoyed being out there with me, looking pretty much, we called it fishing, pretty much like fishing. You're out
Yep.
there throwing a tent out there and see who comes around, only with good intent.
Yep.
Only the good. That's all we want.
Yeah, that's awesome, John.
No negative ones.
Man, I'm jealous.
Myself, I don't strive for ET contact.
Well, you know what?
The shit out of it.
I got I don't recommend it for a lot of people because people don't know, but I've used a laser a few times when I was pretty sure that it wasn't an airplane or a helicopter. And, you get those power ups we're talking about. And they've come down pretty close, but not enough to really. It's a tough one. You're getting evidence, but it's only macro or micro evidence, only really small. You get the crumbs of the toast,
Yep.
You're not getting a whole lot, and there's probably a purpose for that, I'm sure.
Yeah. Enough
Well,
for you
if
to
there's
question
crumbs, there's got to be bread, right?
Yep.
You're getting crumbs. There's got to be a loaf of bread somewhere. So you can bet on that.
There's got to be a loaf of bread around somewhere.
Yeah, if there's crumbs, there's bread.
I do have there's this cool one. I had a few. It's been a couple years ago, probably about 2 years ago now. But I do live up here in the upper foothills and Sierra Mountains up here, and Nevada's just right over the hill there.
It must be beautiful there.
And then New Mexico and all that, Arizona. It really is. It really is. And but the one day I was at work and I had it's a weird one because I kept whether it had to do with Sasquatch or it did, I don't know. But I was at work and I was thinking the whole time, um, in the back of my mind, it was a really hard one to explain, but in my back of my mind, I was already organizing the rest of my day before I caught up to what I was thinking of what I was going to do. And it basically, it almost kind of meld together, I, in a way. So I'm going to the spot that I found, and I'm going to camp overnight. I've never been to it, but I felt extremely sure that it was going to be fine. I'm doing this, and but it was a weird thing because it kept coming up into my mind. I wasn't even trying to bring it up, and that's why I know you do get certain intelligence that do want to tap into you. And I think if you're interested and you're questioning things and you're saying, hey, I have a question here, you're going to get called on to that question eventually. I mean, you may not be ready to answer it because time has gone by or not. But all day I was thinking, you got to go up there. You got to go search for Sasquatch. And I know I'm not going to find Sasquatch because it's really the most hard thing to do.
Right.
But I had to feel I had to get to this area, and the Sasquatch was the excuse to get to where I needed to go to learn an experience that I learned that night, which was, I went to that campsite. I went home, I got a pizza, I went, got food, and I went, try to be quiet and just sit there and relax and allow things to come to me. And no Sasquatch, nothing like that. But I was seeing craft fly over and satellites, and I'd flash them now and then, and nothing really much happened. And before I knew it, you get tired after laying there by the fire for a while. And so I started going, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and go to sleep, And before I knew it, this was in June. This was a week early June, and I didn't have a campfire permit. I just went, got a pizza, threw things together for a campfire for the night, and just did it. And this thing showed up, and I was thinking it was the marshals coming to tell me to put my campfire out or check if I had a permit. And so I thought a vehicle was approaching my campsite, and it's kind of up on a hill. And then I figured out that this is not your ordinary vehicle. This is not what my mind thinks it is. It's far beyond that. And it wasn't till it was a delayed response. It wasn't. It didn't happen right away. It was. I put the piece of the puzzle in a delay after it happened. Kind of weird. And I realized this is not a vehicle, but I was scared. I did have I have a handgun and rifles and things like that. So I kept in the mountains up here, and I'm by myself. So a mountain lion, we have them. We have the bears. They come into my yard right here. And so I figured I'm just gonna keep a pistol right by me, just for any strangers, anybody, and, and that was the only time my phone died, completely died. And I don't have service up there, but for any type of photography pictures, I could pull my camera out. My phone completely died. And this craft, I have to say it's a craft because it was above the ground, and it was not quite above the trees. It was mid-level, almost treetop. And it was and the way I was on the hill, the way this thing was appearing itself was there's nothing. There was probably 50 feet above the ground where it could be. So there's nothing that could have been
Wow.
driving in. And so everything changed a little bit. And it had three, I'd say, Volkswagen size white circle lights that were on this vessel. And there were only three of them, but it appeared to be one, three. It never went more than three. So sometimes it was two of them that were on, to one, to three, two to one. It was never more than three from my point of view. And they were big as VW bugs at that area I was looking at. And then it sat there for a bit. And I had, at that time, I was thinking it's just vehicles, a marshal did, figuring out if they're going to come make contact with me to put my fire out or what. And then before I knew it, it just seemed like they were leaving. And until I realized, well, the way they left, there's no ground there. There's no flooring.
Wow.
It's not possible.
Mhm.
So, you know, the weird, and then the other weird thing too is, um, I did fall asleep, you know, and I looked at the fire, you know, I checked out the fire because I listened, you know, try to educate myself, you know, and missing time. People have their fires
Yeah.
burnt out, but the fire looked normal. It didn't look like I had any missing time.
I was just gonna ask you all that.
Yeah, yeah, no missing time at all that I can recall. And but I did wake up by um, something I've never heard in my life, something I've never seen in my life. I've never encountered anything like that. And I only live where I went camping was only about 20 to 25 minutes from my house. And that's going towards Nevada, Lake Tahoe. But I got woken up by some weird creature. It seemed to be very small and fast, and it had a fluttering sound to it. So in a way, I can't, there's no way I can try to. I have nothing to go on to try to figure out what this thing is, and is all I could call it is a bird, because the way a hummingbird seems to be, the way it flaps its wings very fast, you know, and the way this thing flies from tree to tree, uh, it was instantly. Speedy Gonzalez can't even keep up with this guy. It was from one tree to another, and the sound that it made was an extreme fluttering sound, like, you know, and it was
Mhm.
fast as hell, and it ended up from one spot to another instantly. And I thought, what is going on? I can't even see the damn thing. I can't see it to follow it, to track it, to figure out what is going on. So all I can hear is it going from one location to another. And that's the sound I was getting. It is from traveling from one spot to another. So it had to be physical at some point in time, but yet I couldn't spot it. I know we have these little birds that sit on the trees and they chirp and they fly around, but I have them in my yard all the time. I never hear any of that sound, never. So I
Ah,
can't identify this. You know, I seems interdimensional, but it's really hard.
yeah, yeah.
What you got, Richard?
Well, I was just saying, you know, I do the birds all the time. I'm a bird guy, and yeah, I would compare that experience to anything I've heard or seen after or before that. And if you can't identify, if you've never heard that sound again, then you got something, as far as I'm concerned. No other way around it.
But I do have the location of where it. I do know where, you know, the location of where this thing was when it presented itself and what it does. And about the early morning time, it was active. And when I went to this spot in the evening, that night, that day I was there, I never heard this thing come around. It only showed up early morning after that craft was there at at sunbreak, sunrise. This thing woke me up, partially dark, partially light. I can hear it for a bit before I finally open up my eyes to see. I still couldn't see the damn thing, but I can hear it flying from back and forth, and I couldn't even see it traveling. I couldn't see it go from one tree to another. I can just hear the sound it made, and it's the most amazing, interesting sound because it's quick, fast, and it's
Yeah.
I don't. It's nothing I've ever heard, and I love it.
Yeah.
I think
Makes you
that's pretty
makes you
cool.
it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder that they came that thing came after the UFO sighting to check you out to find out, well, why are they going to see him? You know,
Could be for sure.
same with the
Makes
Man in
sense.
Black, the dark shadow
Yeah.
thing, the shadow person. Man, if I'm sitting on my patio and some shadow
Well,
runs across my patio and makes the patio shake, and my partner sees it, that's it, man.
Oh yeah,
I'm going to the bathroom.
pretty much solidified in reality at
it's
that
it.
point. I
Yeah,
would say.
yeah, yeah.
That's it. And that was a hard thing to get my daughter's mom at the time and the family, the kids to just participate, experience what is going on, whether I'm consciously asking for it and they're hearing me and just playing a little bit back with me or not being too serious because they know I'm fumbling around, I'm new at this.
They always
So
leave you hanging, don't they? You sit there, you have this experience, and then you're left hanging for the rest of your life. You're like, no explanation for it. Everything is out of your vision. You got no tools to detect anything. You're just left hanging. Something happened, but I don't know what it was. That is my whole life. It drove me nuts, man. It drives me nuts today. I'm getting a handle on it a little bit more, but I got JC on my side, so he explains what a little bit more than what I can. But for what happened, you know what I'm saying? Man, he usually says it came
I
from the
think
illusion.
it's
Illusion.
I remember that thing he said, a stitch in time. When things would happen, he
Oh,
called it a stitch in time. He said
yeah.
that's a nice it's a nice accurate word. I think you were looking for that word a while ago too. A stitch in time.
Yep. Any other things happen to you? I want to hear them all.
Yeah,
Yep. Nope.
it's
I love this, man. I love
yeah. Shoot, let me take a look here. Oh man. Oh well, the time of that I did there was there was a good year solid straight. I went out and it probably has to do with a little bit of my family falling apart, separation between my daughter's mom and I, and because it is a hard one to live with when you have bills to pay and you got to keep going on. It's really hard to live in both lives of
Yep.
maybe walking in that other dimension and this dimension. You're walking in two different dimensions and trying to manage both of them in one human being. It is a hard learn way to live. It really is. And people give up, and I can see why. Like we talked about people ended up in the mental institution because they can't handle it. They just want to give up. They want to tap out. And you can't tap out.
No.
And I got my daughters looking at me, and I don't know what's going on, and I just want to do the best for them and give them the best opportunity that I know how. But yet everything's a little bit off, and you got to question that. But you got to hold your own while you're questioning that. You can't. It's a good balance. It's a hard balance to really be on. It's a hard balance, I tell you.
A
But there
back
was
breaking balance.
you know, different. I was eating backbreaking, but I was having a good. I was trying everything I can, eating right, taking right vitamins and herbs and things, and meditation and things like that. So raising my vibrational frequencies, I definitely was getting some at times a little more than I probably could handle, thinking that you could handle it, but no. Sometimes things are a little bit more than what the human can handle. And we would get, gosh, well, at the time, that's what I'm saying. I think I raised my frequencies up quite a bit, where I was having interesting things happen of unexplainable things. Not quite poltergeist at that time. I did have poltergeist later. Um, oh yeah, and even before that time, I've had poltergeist activity. Gosh, I lived on this little town I lived at. I lived on a burial Indian native Miwok, uh, um, kind of like the movie Poltergeist. I lived on a burial ground and I had bodies under my house and they're all around the property. I didn't even know about. They're supposed to tell me that before we moved in, but of course they don't tell you that. So I found this out later, and there had a lot of weird um, native Miwoks at the time lived along this riverbed, and that's where my house was. And we would get weird things that I wasn't even questioning or asking. Imagine if I was to ask for it now on that piece of property, because they had to do ceremonial unburying the graves, unburying the dead, ceremonial things. It took a lot of time, and I
Wow.
think it opened up a little activity at our house where things would happen. My daughter seen an old, shadow man on the couch, and my mom seen this weird mist figure come down and around the TV from where our living room was. And she never said anything until I brought up the time where me and my daughter's mom were upstairs and laying there. This misty white fog came up the stairs because that's the way I'm facing, and it came up over the bed, it up over the out the roof. It was the weirdest thing, almost like you imagined it, but I didn't. And I ended up telling my mother about it because there was another part of that story is where we heard an entity say "mama" down by the feet of the bed, and it was clear as day. My daughter's mom is the same one that heard the shadow being, and we both heard, it was clear as day, as if a human being just said "mama." You turn around and
Wow.
look, but there's nobody there, no one
Wow.
there. I went downstairs, the kids were asleep in bed, snoring, they were out. And the doorbell rang one time by itself, and this is a fenced in yard, and the property is a little bit separated from the highway. So by the time someone rang a doorbell, and it wasn't the kids or anything like that, I went and looked and checked. No one came, no one left. And and my other's daughter mom at the time, same house, she had some weird whispering in her ear that freaked her out a bit. And that was just that piece of land. But I think sometimes some of these things will follow you, or they'll move on if they're bored with you. Because I don't know if anything's really followed me ever.
All the above.
I just know, that shadow being all the above. Yeah, I think it's just a doorway of being aware of these things can happen, and if they want to mess with you, they can do that. And
Oh,
if I
you're also
ask for
living
it
on
or
Indian
not,
burial land too. That
sure, that
a lot
helps.
to do with it.
Well, I'm glad I don't live on that property no more. It's a beautiful piece of property, but yeah, it's good 40 minutes away from me now.
But if the ground ain't good and you got bad shit going on, it doesn't matter how beautiful it is, it's gonna turn you ugly, right?
Yeah, as far as I understand, I gotta keep those good hopes up.
Well, what you got, yeah, when your meditations, you got to ask to be relieved of that kind of
Shoot,
thing.
I can try. Yeah, there is a lot of techniques out there to use to keep practicing and working with. And it takes time to figure out the ones that work and who's real and truthful. But I'm glad figured out Richard, so I can be able to what I see and what you're doing. Is a lot of what I've noticed and inquired and feel is true to myself. No matter what the people out there are trying to sell out there on books and videos and shows or whatever.
Well, it certainly
There's
doesn't
there's
hurt
no there's
to,
no money involved here going on at all. So
that's right. And how does it hurt to look inward for the problems? You know what I'm saying? Through meditation and through asking for help from elsewhere. It doesn't hurt to look in, to look out. Then you're not getting somebody else's. You know, you can have it interpreted by somebody eventually, and or run it by somebody like Richard, who does meditation every single day. I try to do it every day myself, but sometimes I just, if I can't
well,
focus, I won't bother.
so we would look as to a person like Richard and people that have truthful, real experiences as a teacher or a guide to say, okay, that's his story, that's his um, perspective and his experience. So a little bit different than mine, but I can learn from his experience and try to see if I can help benefit my experience and learn, because we don't none of us want to be caught off guard, and none of us want to be a victim at all.
No, that's true.
I think the more we know, the better off we can be. And sharing experiences is probably one of the most important things. And if the credibility of a person, the family, the friendship of knowing somebody for a long time. Yeah, you can fake for a long time, but eventually people are going to see through that, and they're going to know that you're a genuine being or you're a fake person, and either throw you away or they're going to use you as a good tool to be part of a bigger picture here and trying to establish truth and realism best we can. Just so everybody behind us that follows through, like my children and your grandchildren, nieces and nephews and things like that, they all can have a little bit better of a grasp and hold on true reality of life, and hope it doesn't affect them in a negative way. And I don't think it really does.
No. Awesome, John. You told me an experience you had once, a go see experience you had. I think it was with your family. Maybe something happened. I can't remember the details. I'm hoping you can. That would be cool. But I don't remember exactly what it was. But I remember I liked it. It was very
Is that
good.
ghostly?
Yeah. Something moved or something.
Is it something from quite a while back ago, or?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
Stepping out for a minute, cuz.
Maybe it was the poltergeist stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought
This was probably about a good 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. And and this is something I'm not proud of, because I think I let my hatred get to me about, it was um, a situation that happened to me, and so I was bored and mad and frustrated, that somebody can hurt me like they did. And so I was bored, and I thought, there's nothing else going on, I'm going to try a little something. And it's definitely not recommended, and I knew better. I just kind of did it anyway out of boredom, but a little bit of, black magic, I guess you call it, throw a spell on somebody just to see what happens. And yeah, it backfired for sure. And I didn't intend harm to this person. I just intended for them to not have good luck and then prosperity because of what had happened that they purposely did to me. So I was being revengeful, and I felt like it at that time, and that was wrong of me. But it definitely backfired, because I got a. It was really weird. It started out with the poltergeist stuff. I have a kitty cat ball with a feather on there and it has a bell in the middle. My cat's My cat's a scaredy cat. He's a typical scaredy cat. He don't play with toys. He's sketchy. He wants to go outside and be away from anything and everybody living. And he'll only come around if it's quiet. And I've had him for about 12 years now. He's been like that forever. And so his ball is getting tossed around in my bedroom. Got a little bell on there, and I'm thinking, oh, is that Gizmo playing with his ball, his toy for once in his life? He's playing with a toy. And I thought, wait a minute, like he was outside, and he hasn't been in the house because he doesn't want to come in. So I'm thinking, what's going on? And I thought, whatever, maybe it's him. Maybe he caught inside and he just kicked the ball or something. And what was it? Gosh, I think I was. I think I did see some orbs in the room. I was laying there and just relaxing, and then some orbs here and there. And I would record them now and then. I don't have them handy on my phone to put out right now, but uh, so then before I know it, I was getting ready. It's getting later, and I'm laying there in the bed, and all of a sudden I feel like I got attacked. The top of my head and my chin, my jaw, both got squished, slapped. The top of my head and the bottom of my jaw slapped at the same time, as if you would be like that. And so my teeth overlapped, which I can't even do if I tried, and I bit my lip. And I thought, what the hell just happened? As if someone just smacked the shit out of me out of nowhere. And that's exactly, I think, what happened, because it wasn't for a little bit. I went to the mirror to go look, and my lip was purple inside my mouth. I bit my lip. I thought, what the hell did that really just happen? And so I'm thinking something just really slapped the shit out of me, And that was because I just, saying what I thought, trying to put a bad curse on somebody backfired. And so um, that really screwed me up for that night. But at 3 o'clock, my phone alarm, I have to get up for work at about 5:15, 5:30 at the latest. And my phone went off at 3 o'clock. And then I thought, well, it woke me up at 3 o'clock. I'm thinking, what's going on? And then so I turned it off, and it doesn't have what do you call it? A sleep mode for half an hour. You have to set a time sleep mode for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or 15 minutes. I don't even think it goes for half an hour. But again, it went off at 3:30. It woke me up again. I'm thinking, that's just the weirdest thing that ever happened. And so after that, I don't think anything major happened. I did apologize, spiritually and physically, but uh, that I knew I was in the wrong, and that's, I think, whatever straightened me out that night. Just threw a little side note in there. Hey, don't go down this route, please don't.
When you
So I
call
think
the
it was a
tune, you got
smack
to
up
pay the
whether it was a
piper.
good entity or a bad one. I think it was just, it was a reality check. I said, you don't want to go there, and I never since,
Yeah, they
like
just
the
gave you a
kids
kick in
used
the
to say.
ass, sir.
But it was a
Smarten the fuck up.
poltergeist. Basically, yeah. Tell me you don't want none of this, and I don't. I do not.
Well, if you're in the
At all.
position where you're wishing someone not well, then you're not necessarily going with natural law or God's plan. You're just off the beaten path way too fucking far at that.
Well,
Pardon my
I can lie and leave that one out or whatever. But it's just it's a true incident that happened, and I was at wrong, and I don't mind admitting that I was wrong. And I got my ass kicked for it, and I moved
Well,
on.
you
So
learned a
it's
lesson
fine.
out of it. So
Yeah,
you
Big
learned a
deal.
lesson out of it. You know what I mean? Maybe that was what it was all about.
that's what it was about.
Like I think
Definitely.
it was.
That's not the experience you told
I
me,
think
but
it
that's a
had to
good
do
one.
with not. Well, you gotta remind me of the experience, the other one that I told you, because there's been a lot of little things here and there that I forget about.
Oh, it was the synchronicity one we were talking about, and you
Was
told
it
me.
poltergeist activity?
Yeah, something like you thought about something, and then it happened, or something was put in your path, like an object, and from something you were thinking about. I can't remember exactly what it was. It was so long ago. It was years ago. But I remember I was like, I love that shit.
Oh,
I love it.
a lot of that stuff still happens
Yeah.
a lot of that stuff still happens to today, to nowadays. I mean, even at work, I'll say something. Oh gosh, it might have been, yeah, it might have been the France, when France had uh, the France bombing. I predicted the France bombing before it happened. I told my mom and quite a few people at work and then I actually saw it on the news at Burger King, and I thought, and it didn't even click to me until the next day at work. One of my partners says, he goes, "Hey, you were right." I had no idea what he was even talking about, and even though I watched the bombing on the news at Burger King, it still didn't click that I had predicted in a weird way that was happening there, and along with a couple other things. And the only one thing I was wrong about was whether they didn't, they never put it on news, and I could be right about it. I don't know, but it had something to do with water too. But yeah, the if I don't know, Dan, if you remember, but the bombing in France we had a while, gosh, probably around
I remember
4 years
hearing a
ago,
bit
maybe
about it.
5 years ago.
I remember hearing a bit about it. There was a bunch of stuff
Was
that
it
happened
the?
over there all at once, right?
I think it was a few different things, and yeah, and you know, and my mom at the time, because I, you know, that's the weird thing there, Dan. At that time of me seeing a lot of the craft and different weird things that were happening, and the smells of the rotten eggs smelled around the house every now and then. Um, but that was a time, and I remember that's my mom had came out to live with us because I think somehow oh man, on a conscious level, I was tapping into different wavelengths, not microwaves or I don't really know what waves they were, but they're different waves where people have they call it automatic writing, and all of a sudden they start writing out sentences and information that they're receiving from another realm,
Yeah,
or they're
dimension.
tapping into something. But this is what was happening, and I yeah, and I was telling my mom all kinds of and futuristic stuff. She's now married. She's got this amazing husband she's with now, and that was one of the things I told her, that you're having this amazing person come into your life. You're gonna be taken care of, you know, and a lot of predictions. And I hate to call it predictions, but a lot of that stuff came true. This is stuff that was just pouring out of me, and I almost like I hit a wavelength of energy of knowledge, and I was just I can't even remember half the stuff I told her, and she probably can't either. But if we look back, a lot of that stuff did happen, and a lot of that stuff was happening, and was really it wasn't far fetched because it was real a mix of a bit of everything. It was really odd. Like I was able to say something before it happened, and then all of a sudden it happened, and I am still doing that now at work here and there. You know, I'll say, oh hey, you know, this and that's gonna, and all of a sudden, you know, whatever popped up, and it's like almost if you're inclined into that wavelength or whatever, you can kind of perceive it before it actually manifests into your reality. That's a interesting, tough one. Kind of fun, but yeah, I guess you
Interesting
could
for
lose friends
sure.
from that one.
Interesting for sure. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, because you predicted it,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think,
I'm just trying to think of anything offhand.
well, because I think for me, when I predict things, it seems okay, for like the France, where you got bombed in France. So I tried it myself to try to add more to it. How did that happen? Why did that happen? So you're tapping into the bigger consciousness of the spirit world. So whoever the people were that were plotting and planning to do the bombing in France, it was either staged bombing, it was meant to happen. People consciously thought of it, intended it to happen over days and months and months. You picked up, to me, it's like you picked up
Okay.
in that wavelength, in that consciousness that this is going to happen. And when it did, but what's really awesome is, I think, is the event is going to happen in the future. You predict it. Where does that come from? Are you predicting an event that's in the immediate future? Or I don't know how many days it was you predicted it, but that's the type of stuff that blows my mind. And I always ponder it. It's like it already happened. It's like it is on the timeline in the dimension of your life. It's already happened. You just catching up to it, and you got the the consciousness of it happening in that timeline before it got to you or you got to it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's interesting too. That's good. That's a good theory.
Yeah, that's great. That's a awesome way to look at it. And that's and it's definitely for my intellect or whatever, it's definitely possible. And I'm not gonna let no one tell me anything otherwise. If that's what feels it aligns, I'm all right with that. I need something else to either yeah, no.
Yeah, well, from what I
Yeah,
taught
that sounds good. I like that.
from what the ETs showed me and what Jesus Christ has showed me is the fact that we are all, our lives in this reality, in our bodies, our lives are all a river. Okay? It's a river. And on this river, there's branches left and right. So we're sailing down the river, living our lives. And there are things that happen that make us change our minds, make us think left or right, or we predict, things that already happened are being outside forces, let's just call them that, do things on such a mass scale that will pick up their consciousness of that event and will predict it. So I've had it where it comes true all the time, but I never said anything to anybody. Now, and then it happens and I'm totally dumbfounded by it. Then I tell people and it happens, a big mass scale thing. And it happens. I'll tell my friends. But when it comes down to personal stuff, okay, like if you're sitting there and I know something is going to happen to Dan, right? And it's a bad thing that's going to happen to him. And I know it. I just know it. And I'll say, okay, because I've had people get seriously hurt and I predicted it, but I never told anybody. I never told that person. So and that really bothered me a lot because I knew they were going to get hurt, but I didn't say nothing. And I thought about it. And I said, well, the next time this happens, the next time I know somebody's going to get hurt, what I'm going to do is, and I'm just pondering this in my head. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell that person and so how do I tell them where they don't freak out on me? Right. And so I'm thinking, oh shit. So this person's destined to get hit by a fucking bus and spend six months in the hospital. Okay. How do I tell them where they don't get freaked out? Now I got to change their consciousness. I got to change their timeline because it's set for them it's set. This thing is set for that event to happen to them. Now, I don't know if that's right or if that's wrong under the big God eyeball, okay? But I got the information, which means I could change their path. How do I do that? You don't tell them you predicted it. They'll look at you like you're a fucking idiot. You walk up to them, and you say, hey man, guess what? They go, what? I had the most horrific goddamn dream about you last night. They go, you dreamt about me? Yeah. I had a dream. You were riding your bike. You were talking on your phone and you went on the street and you got run over by a cement truck. And they're going, holy shit. And then they go into themselves. They go into their self and they go, dreams. Yeah, they're real. They're real. Oh, fuck. Okay. Now, it was just a dream because you told them it was just a dream. So right then and there, you changed their whole day. You changed the events as soon as you said that. But you didn't say, hey, I'm the great predictor.
Well, yeah, you didn't candy coat your ego with it.
Yeah, you just put it out there. Basically, you changed their subconscious. The path they are on is going to get them this. if they don't change it now. And basically, you coming forward and saying it changes the whole script. And it works, man. It works. But
it's funny how you have to tell them you had a dream. You can't just tell them the truth, eh?
You got it.
That you got to actually lie to the son of a bitches to get them to conform.
Yeah.
Telling the truth won't get you there.
Right.
Just they'll think you're nuts.
They'll think you're nuts and you get in a big fight.
Yeah.
So that's what I've done all my life, because that happened to me when I was a kid, a teenager.
Well, if you ever get a vision about me, tell me straight the fuck up. I'll believe you.
All right.
You won't have to make no goddamn I had a dream story. I had a dream.
Yeah.
I will just believe you, Richard.
And what the worst part was, I dreamt my own car crash. Unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. I'll tell you the story. It's real quick. So I'm taking driver's lessons in high school.
Well, you were the worst fucking driver in history, though, back then.
Oh, but I was good. I never got in the car.
I love you, cuz, but you look bad.
I blame it on Slayer. Anyway, I'm taking a driver's lesson. It's tomorrow is my last driving lesson of the year, and I have to take it. And so I go to bed that night. I wake up in the morning, and I just know I'm going to get in an accident. It was overwhelming. The whole feeling, I'm going to get in an accident. It just, like, my whole day is ruined. And it was after school. We meet in the parking lot and we go. So, and it's the middle of winter. So all day I'm thinking about it. This overwhelming feeling that I had when I woke up. I get in the car, we're driving, and I'm thinking, okay, it hasn't happened yet. I haven't got an accident. We're golden. And it's snowing. It's dark out. It's like 6 o'clock. And I come over by the old hospital along the river there, Dan. That's where I was. And I was pulling out, and I had to pull out onto the street. But on this side, anyway, I had to pull out between parked cars that were on the street. And I didn't want to go because I couldn't see nothing, right? So I looked at the ladies, the driver education lady, and she's mean and miserable. And I'm sitting there holding the steering wheel. I'm looking, and I'm thinking, damn, we're going. She said, okay, let's go home. So I'm thinking, yeah, man, I got through. I didn't get in an accident, you know. And then all of a sudden, I'm pulling out real slow, and I'm looking for cars coming. And she looks at me, and she says, go, like that, right in my face. And so I said, okay. So I hit the gas, and I was pulling out. Whap! This car hits me. My car flies over, lands on, smashes into another car. So there's 3 wrecked cars in the middle of this busy downtown city snowball mess from hell. Oh my God.
Oh man.
And then there you go. Nothing else. I never got charged. I got my driver's license. I passed the training thing. It was all her fault. I wasn't going. There's no way in hell I was gonna go.
Well, she was
till I could see
your face.
Yeah, and so what the hell happened there? Like, how does that work? How do I dream you're gonna get in a car accident? All day I'm paranoid about it. I try to avoid it. I'm so careful. I'm so fucking careful driving. I got 3 people behind me in the back seat. I got the bitch beside, the mean girl. Well, she's a grandma. She's really mean. Anyway, I'm trying my best not to get in an accident but it turns out she caused the accident. She caused the fucking accident.
Maybe it was a warning to you.
I don't even know. I don't even know.
So no matter what you can do,
you're fucked. Yep. Jesus, eh? Isn't that something?
Maybe that accident was a lesson for her, though, bud.
Yeah.
You know,
she
probably learned in a big way that day to shut her hole.
Yeah, maybe because she was a very angry person, very angry. Like, she never had anything nice to say. It's like her own life annoyed her. You know, I hate my job. I hate you little kids. You know what I mean? And that's the way it was.
There's a lot of those people running around.
Yeah.
There is.
Good point, Dan.
A
Thank
lot of
you.
those people.
And I predicted it. I predicted it. And I did everything I could to avoid it. And yet she caused it.
Yeah.
So
It was unavoidable, brother.
and it was a twist I wasn't expecting.
Too bad it was a hit on your
I'm
side
supposed to
of the
know
gun.
this shit. God damn, I hate it when people control me.
Dan, do you have one of those videos or a story where you've had premonition and you either went with it or you avoided it and it happened and you thought, dang it.
Well, I got nothing
There's
that's
something to that.
too exciting. My life is pretty mundane. I used to have a hell of a life. I was rampant in drugs and alcohol and violence, and I was wrapped up in it all. And I have always known that I'm empathic because I spent 3/4 of my life trying to bury it. And I've never wanted to acknowledge the fact that I'm empathic because I don't.
Yeah.
I'm a person that can't show weakness. I have a very hard time with it. But
Is that made by design?
I have no idea, but I've always been attracted to.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it's made by design.
I think I've always just been scared of what I truly can do and what I could do if I wanted to. I'm a chicken shit when it comes to that because I can do meditation like you wouldn't believe, and I get some fantastic results, but ultimately my soul in the middle of these experiences will run away from it. So I'm just basically now getting in touch with like being able to tell people I care about them, I love you, all that thing, and try and express it outward. It's taken me a long time, a real long time.
Isn't that weird how there's many different paths that we could take and egotistical ways, and then your soul, your heart.
Yep, that's why I came back to where I am now, and I'm at a foothold, and I'm at the crutch of my existence to either go one way or the other, and to be honest about it. One way is to go with the way I want to be, pure premonition, full, aware of life, meditative, clean, and be able to be my brother's keeper. Like, did we lose John?
Yeah, looks like it.
But anyway, for those
No,
listening,
keep going. I'll try to invite him back.
No, that's the situation as it is. I'm working on it now, and I know a lot more than what I can. I know things are going to happen. I do in my heart. I know stuff's going to happen. It's not big stuff. It's not bridges caving in. It's not people catching on fire, people dying. But in my day, I can predict several things that are going to happen, and they do come to fruition. I'm that tuned with it now, and it's a bit scary. But
Yeah.
I don't know if I would be able to handle the bigger stuff, and maybe rightfully so. My soul knows that as well. I'm just not ready for it. I'm easing into it, but to feel what everybody else feels all the time, I know now why I did drugs. Because I get around people and I can feel what they're feeling and I can know their situation, and I don't like it. I really don't, because some of it's nasty, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, it says John's still on, so I don't know what the hell that means.
I think he maybe got cut out with reception because I seen him go all blank.
Yeah.
Well, we can put an end to her here if you want now, guys, and then we can pick up another one.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do this again because we're getting good. You
Yeah.
still got more stories. I wanted to ask him. I've been writing things down. I wanted to ask him.
We'll have a chit chat with him and
Come on, John.
yeah,
Where are
press
you?
him.
Damn.
And then yeah, we'll cut it for today.
All right.
All right. Well, all you people that are watching, thanks for watching. Please hit the like button. If you got any questions, if you want to be on, if you want to talk, you got experiences, please go in the messages. Thank you so very much. And I hope you all have a great, blessed day. Bye, guys.
All right, John. See you later. Thanks for
Bye, John. Thank
thanks
you
for
very
the-
much, John.
yeah. That was awesome.
Bye, guys.
All right. Take care, guys. See you later, man.